everybody, and welcome to Randy Sands and the Mediumship Crew. Tonight, we are doing something a little different than what we normally do. For those of you that know us, tonight would normally be our week that we do the review of the Spiritualist Pioneer, which we're going to push that back a month and, resume that. But for tonight, we are going to remember a man that I had a lot of love for, a man that I learned a lot from, a man that I respected immensely, a man that I considered a friend, and I always looked forward to him coming down here so that we could all get together, and a man that was generous with his time, that was always willing to take part in anything that I asked him to take part in, and a man that was an amazing medium and a calming presence. And that man is John White. Um, I just found out today that he had passed, which of course he's not dead. He's, bless him, he's gotten to graduate. He's, moved on to the next level, but he's still here. But I thought that it would be really nice for all of us to share some experiences that we've had. And since I'm opening up, I'm going to let everybody else go first. So, anybody that would like to share, please share a memory.
Well, certainly, like we had talked a little bit before, but certainly I have been going to Lilydale now for probably 60 years. And for all of the years that John White had been in Lilydale, I knew him. He was is a wonderful, wonderful man and medium, like you said, Randy. He had an essence of himself, of just wisdom, love, peace. That's all he radiated. And you were drawn to him for that reason. He had a unique way of doing lectures and speaking and talking, and he drew you in. He had a great sense of humor. I believe he was a Sagittarius too.
He was.
Yeah. So, and I think that because I'm a Sag too. So, but yeah, no doubt John will be the in body missed in Lilydale for sure. But no doubt his spirit will be wandering that place.
Oh, yeah. Anybody else? Come on, Colleen.
He is the soul that just is so beautiful, right? And he had a way of knowing just the thing to say to spur you to the next level. I took a class, and it was the very last day of the season in Lilydale. And it was on past lives, and it was fascinating, and it was wonderful. And I went up to him to say thank you for a wonderful class. And he looks at his watch and he goes, "You still have time, get to the stump." And I just I was jarred, because I had made a promise to myself that I was going to publicly demonstrate at the stump before the end of the season. And this was the last stump service. And somehow it was like, yeah, you got to go to the stump. So, and he really had this way of helping other mediums that were growing and learning in little bits. And just by the way he behaved in the platform, and you watched him work on the platform, you could understand what worked and what didn't work, and how speed was important in the, especially out at the stump. And you learn so much just by watching him do his craft. And he will always hold that space in my heart.
I'm sitting here getting whiplash.
Yeah,
everything you're saying.
He was that fast. I mean,
No,
I've seen him do 5 evidence.
I'm talking about because everything you're saying, I'm like, I'm giving myself whiplash.
Oh yeah, he told me back one time when we were talking that I was going to he asked me if I've ever heard of Reiki. Now again, we're going back many years. And the interesting part to that was is that I had heard of it at that point, and I was interested in taking Reiki classes. And he told me, he says, well, what if I told you that you're going to learn Reiki and you're going to become a Reiki master? And I was like, wow, really? Because now again, at this point, I'm not nowhere near where I'm at today. And he said, yep. He goes, and what if I told you someday you're going to have your own church? Again, that was a very, very far-fetched idea. No, I don't have my own church. I'm open to the idea that one day that may happen, just to have a healing center, actually. And so, yeah, and I did become a Reiki master.
He was good like that.
He is
was good
amazing.
like that. You know, I remember the first time he asked me to do his radio show with him. He asked me to come on as an animal communicator. And I was kind of like, oh my, oh my, oh my. And he's like, you're going to be fine. He goes, trust me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll trust you. And it went very well. And as a matter of fact, during that show, and I don't know why I remember this because I normally don't, but he's laughing. So they had asked me something, and I said, I keep getting pig, and I couldn't understand it. And he and Joyce started laughing because I think Joyce's, I think it's sister, had an animal named Pig. So it was quite funny the way it all happened. But every time they were out here, it amazed me because one time he wanted to go to a concert and see A Spoonful of Honey. I didn't know what A Spoonful of Honey was, but I didn't tell him that. I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know. But he was such an eclectic guy because I remember one time we went out and I think we were off of Commercial Boulevard, and we got slices of pizza, and Joyce and I went into Kilwins and we got some candy, and I got a caramel apple, and we sat there and ate it while people watched. And then another time, here we are going for Indian food because he was big on Indian food. He loved
Yeah.
it. But he was just such an eclectic guy. You know, he could go from pizza on the street to, very very unique tastes and
Cuisine,
flavors.
yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Anybody else have any thoughts or ideas? Jack, you got to meet him once, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I met him. It was either once or twice he came in when we were doing something. One might have been a class and then another might have been a show. I'm not sure.
It was a class.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a very interesting guy. I could have sat and listened to him for hours.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And that's what I mean. Here I am, having a class with my mediumship students, and I say, hey, John, you want to come in? He's like, sure. And
Mhm.
here he comes in, chatting with them. He was very, very generous with his time.
Mhm.
And when we first started doing these, if you go back and you look, there's a few of them that he did in the
Oh,
beginning.
oh, okay.
I'm going to have a very hard time when it comes time to delete his phone number from my phone.
Don't. He might call you.
I was thinking about it today, and I said, I don't know that I can do that right now.
Don't.
I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah, no need. Let it ring. Let that number come up.
I will tell you the stump in Lilydale will never be the same.
No, I know. I know. He had a way.
Stacy, did you ever get to see him?
I did. Sorry, you caught me off guard. I was listening. I was just listening.
I don't even know how she knew you were there. I thought you left.
Psychic. Someone must be psychic. I don't know.
I'm
Is there
stealth
psychics
like that.
around here.
I'm stealth
Yeah.
like that.
I love it. I didn't really know him well. Sorry, my kitchen is alive with family. I didn't really know him personally per se. I mean, I've taken a few of his classes, but I was telling the story of when I first met him because when you meet people who truly live the spiritualist philosophy of life, there's an energy about them that is intense, that is, something that you feel deep within your soul especially when you're starting out, and you just connect. And I remember, just kind of being Lilydale for the first time. And for those of you who haven't gotten to it, if you've ever walked into your first camp, church, class, whatever it was, where you just felt like home, you just felt like, oh my gosh, I found my tribe. Like I am not lost and wandering anymore. And I remember having that feeling. It was the first day we were there too, actually. So I remember having that feeling and watching the messages, the demonstration mediumship at the stump and the temple, at the Forest Temple, and then the healing. It was just amazing. And I remember sitting down and he was walking his dog. Does anybody remember that dog's name? He had more than one though, but this was, I think, it was like I'm an animal person, so my apologies, but this cute little kind of like, I don't know, white Lapsu, or I don't know what it was. It was
It was
just,
a white little one. I don't know
Yeah.
the name.
yeah, I don't
It-
remember.
It had an unusual name.
Yeah.
But it almost looked
And
like,
I think that dog had something to do, there was some connection, I believe, with John's uncle.
okay. Yeah, I don't even know. But I just remember him watching the dog. Literally, I had to look at his feet to see if they were touching the ground, because there was just this calmness, like this presence when he walked, and it was just like, I just want whatever that is. He just looked connected, but yet, not just balanced, and just,
Right.
I don't even know how else to describe it. And then I remember hearing in my head, that was before I knew what clairaudience was or anything. Like, I just kept hearing, I know something you don't know. And I'm like, but I got to know what that is. Like, I need to
Yeah.
know. And he did what? I think it was the Friday night circles at the Healing Temple during the season.
I think it was Sunday night.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sunday night, yeah. And I went to that like immediately. That was because I think we got it on Saturday. So yeah, that would be right, Sunday night. Went to that, and he vibrated balance. That's all I have to say. Like the most balanced person I've probably met, and I've met a few Buddhist monks, and that's hard to compare, but he was just, there was this great balance, stillness, humble. Oh, that man was humble. He's probably
he was.
embarrassed that we're all talking about him now. He's like, whatever, but just, yeah, he was just like the epiphany of what I want to be, Absolutely.
Right. What we all strive towards anyways.
Yeah, exactly, Sharon. Absolutely.
He was like that schoolmaster that is very calm, very soothing, and you just look up to them because you're safe with them, and you just don't want to disappoint them ever.
Exactly.
You want to do your best to always make him proud. That's
Because
how I always felt.
No matter what you thought you knew, he always knew more. So there was never ever matching wits with him, because it seemed like he had been there, done that with so many things in his life, and he could talk on all topics and do it with such finesse.
And he was never braggadocious about it.
Nope.
Never.
Nope.
And I never heard him say anything unkind about anybody.
Mm-mm. No. In fact, I think he made it his business not to get into people's business.
I mean, I want to be him. I want to be that
Right.
when I grow up. And I'm working on it. But he was always calm and peaceful. But I will tell you, John had a rigid he really worked his spiritualism. He had a very rigid schedule. He had a whole routine he did every morning with breathing and meditation and whatnot.
Mhm.
He was very dedicated to that.
Yeah. Breath work. Yep.
And I remember the first time I went to one of those Sunday circles. Well, I walked out of there going, oh my, I just learned something, and of course I did, because at that point, I was still fairly new, but in what, 1 hour, he taught me a remote viewing.
Wow.
Like, are you kidding me? Oh, that's a new trick. That's a new trick. So if anybody has any thoughts, or even if it's just something that you've heard about him that you want to talk about, please, by all means, step forward.
My daughter actually got to go and visit with him with a friend of ours, Jen Shepherd, and she had nothing but good things to say about him when she came back. And I know all the times that I've been to Lilydale, and that's quite a few, that it never fails. You'd be sitting at the stump or at the Healing Temple, and you'd hear other people talking about John White, and always good things, and how they can't wait to see him again. And they, every season they come and they see him. And I even believe that my husband's sister had a reading by John. And like everybody said, there's just not a bad thing that you've heard about him or that he would say about anybody else, And I think everybody wishes that they would have such a great tribute. It's funny when you said that he probably wouldn't like all, us talking all this stuff. And I heard, yeah, go ahead. So, on the other side, he may just be glad to hear that so many people appreciated him, and actually looked up to him.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, he stepped in with me today several times, and there was a tear jerk moment, and like I said, I wouldn't say we were best friends, but he was definitely somebody that I looked up to in my spiritual journey, that I wanted to, reach the levels that, and I still do want to reach the
Right.
levels that he had achieved. I used to love to watch John do readings off the stump, because he would say, "Shake my hand." And you'd shake his hand. Sharon's shaking her head. He did that to you, didn't he, Sharon?
He'd like to do that.
And he would do it all throughout the reading. Like when the energy started fading, he'd say, can you shake my hand? And again, can you shake my hand? And then just zoom, off he goes.
Yeah.
He was amazing. Just amazing.
His
And
his good friend Joyce happened to come out to the farm and bring the crystal bed with her. And
oh, that's a nice bed, by the way.
boy, she just talked so highly of him, and she really appreciated him. And I think she just opened that bed and breakfast in Lilydale,
She
right?
did. A couple
And
years ago, yes.
and he was behind all that, pushing her to do that. So
Yeah. He pushed her to do it, but actually, from my understanding, believe it or not, she did it all on her own.
yeah, But I
You know,
mean,
he
he kept
encouraged her.
nudging her along, you know,
Correct.
in
Yeah.
a journey.
Yeah.
Encouraging, yes.
And Joyce was the first
He-
one I met between the two.
Oh.
She's a beauty.
Mhm.
Colleen?
Well, it's interesting because he leads by example, because he was never threatened by another medium. And he always was like, there's always enough work for everybody. Whoever's going to come is going to come. And that's kind of been my mantra as well through all of my development and stuff. Yeah, who's meant to come to me will come to me, and who needs the message will get their message. And I never ever felt this level of competition that I do with other mediums per se. He just was like, yeah, no, there's no competition. We're all in this to help and serve spirit and give a beautiful experience to others. And I think that example is how I teach others and how I want to elevate mediumship for everyone.
He
You know,
used
if
to
we could get
say,
everyone performing at that level.
sorry, he used to say having no attachment to the outcome was key to success. And that's very true. If you have no attachment to the outcome, you have no expectations. You're leaving it up to the universe to guide the people to you. That's exactly how I do my work.
And no attachment to the readings. Don't worry about what it looks
That's
like, what
right.
it's going to sound like,
No
because
attachment to the outcome.
if you do, you're not going to
The most
do the reading correctly.
Right.
The most bizarre things that come out of your mouth, the most evidential they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's true.
And you know, I think
And
that
if you trust it,
go ahead.
if you trust it, beautiful things happen.
Absolutely. And you know, I think that without him being aware of it, that he taught a whole nother generation of us that may not have even, a lot of people weren't even that close to him, but he still taught people what Colleen was saying about don't be insecure of other mediums, don't compete with them, you know, just do your thing. And there's enough work for everybody. And I'll refer people. I know Colleen refers people. Tammy, I know you do. Sharon, I'm sure you do. I
Oh,
mean, look at
absolutely.
and I'm sure Stacy would, and you know, Jen and whatnot. So there's a whole group of mediums coming up that are having a whole different perspective.
Well, and I also think he's taught the teachers, the next generation of people that we're going to teach the next generation of mediums. We're giving an example, and we're by living the way we do, we're giving them the confidence to live this way and know that it will pay back to them in huge ways.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember one of the times I worked the stump, he was there. I was like, oh my. Oh my. Because again, you don't want to disappoint him. You know, if he
Right.
wasn't there, it would have been a breeze. Woo! You know, off we go. No,
Pressure's on.
John was there. Oh my. You know,
I get it.
he was just that schoolmaster, you know, that mentor that you look up to. Anybody else? Dawn, did you guys know him or ever encounter him?
Hello,
You froze.
Can
Go
you hear me?
ahead.
can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
I personally did not know him, but I feel like I did know him. And the reason being is meeting the people that I come to see every Monday night, or people who have met him, who is teaching me. I feel that they are, through you guys, we are learning the way he was teaching you guys. Am I making sense? Probably not.
I would agree.
But for some reason, I'm drawn to this poem. I don't know why. Could I read it?
Sure.
Do not weep for me, for I have not gone. I am the wind that shakes the mighty oak. I am the gentle rain that falls upon your face. I am the spring flower that pushes through the dark earth. I am the chuckling laughter of the mountain stream. Do not weep for me, for I have not gone. I am the memory that dwells in the heart of those that knew me. I am the shadow that dances on the edge of your vision. I am the wild goose that flies south of autumn's call, and I shall return at summer rising. I am the stag on the wild hills way. I am just around the corner. Therefore, the wise weep not, but rejoice at the transformation of my being.
Well, I can tell you, I'm going to not weep because that man came in today and he said, "Are you ready?" I said, "Ready for what?" And he said, "Now that I'm on this side, your mediumship is going to intensify. Get ready."
Yeah.
Sharon,
So many
you're
times
muted.
I hear from the other side say that
Sharon, you're
they can
muted,
do
honey.
so much more on the other side than they can here,
Yeah.
you know. So there's so many more avenues he has on the other side to connect with people in the here and now that yeah, I can imagine everybody's vibrations are going to be raised. And he was a man that led by example, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure
Right.
that he'll guide everyone in that same way,
He's going to be the teacher of teachers.
right?
And
Yes.
the way he put it to me is like, it's time for all of us to hold on to our britches because it's going to be Mr. Toad's wild ride.
What's interesting is Dawn, the poem you read, I've heard him in a reading at the stump say that poem to someone.
Well, now you know why she was drawn to it.
No coincidences.
And I could absolutely see him doing that. I could absolutely see him knowing that poem and reciting
And
it without a flaw, without a stumble or a stutter. Amazing man. Sharon, what were you saying a little bit ago when you were on mute?
What was I saying? Oh, when you
Mhm.
were saying how John was going to come through and help you on your readings, I said I asked him to help me too. So a little bit can hurt, you know?
Well,
every medium that ever saw him work has said the same prayer today.
actually, I didn't. I was talking to him about just him, graduating. And he was like, "Be ready." I'm like, "Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Let me sit down and get a hold of my britches here." Oh my. Um because we do that. Like, he was so humble about it, and I think we all try to be, but that humanness slips in sometimes. Not that I think I'm the best medium in the world, I don't. But you get to a certain point where it's kind of like you're comfortable, and he just kind of came in and let me know, you better forget about that.
John was walk the walk and talk the talk, talk the talk, walk the walk. He definitely was that. And his mission in life was not to go out and impress a soul. It was to help the souls. And he did.
He did. I agree. Anybody else have anything to add? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, well, with that, I think that we'll close up, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the universe to scoop him up and elevate him and let him shine, and to help him help everybody else that's still here shine,
Yes.
because that's what he would want.
Yes.
And now I'm going to get all teary-eyed, so I
Well,
think we're
thank
going
you
to
for
stop.
doing this. Thank you for doing this.
How could I not?
I know. but was nice to be able to come in and say a few words about somebody that I held in high regard.
Well, I'm glad you came in because it's an honor to have you here. I've been waiting. I've been waiting on you, girl.
You have you?
I haven't said anything, but I've been waiting. Now maybe you'll come in a little more often.
Well, we'll see. I had to be Jack. I
Jack,
just love your sidekick.
See what you've been missing?
and you know what? We didn't let Jack open up. We got it carried away on the mission again. Jack, why don't you give Sharon what she wants?
That's all right. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure John does too, but why don't you give Sharon what she was missing?
Am I saying hello or goodbye?
Well, you can do both. You can do both.
That's
Hi,
okay,
good,
Mike.
happy people.
Okay. Jack?
Bye, good, happy people.
Until the next time. Nice
Good
meeting
night.
all you other people.
Nice meeting you too.
Good night,
Right,
everybody.
yeah.
We're going to go and get ready for the Monday Night Prayer Circle that's on Facebook Live at 9 Eastern. So if you ever want to join us, just go to the Facebook page for Randy Sands
Okay,
and we'll see you there.
all right.
Good night,
Have a good
everybody.
night.